There we go.
Yeah.
Meeting is now live
Yeah,
streaming. That's
British.
promising.
So now we need to get up the screen share.
You're very picky, Adam.
I am, but mostly it's because I don't want people to see the microphone that's coming out of my shoulder. At least.
Oh yeah, that's kind of interesting.
It's very strange how Zoom's blur function seems to work, but it seems to catch just enough of the microphone to let people know it's there, but not so much as to think I'm not some sort of weird mecha bot.
Speaking of which, who are you if you're not some sort of weird mecha bot?
I ask myself that question a lot. It's a good question. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Sorry, we were having a little bit of technical adventures, and we will be live shortly. We didn't miss too much because the first board was rather boring 3-0, barring some surprising lead. But the second board will be some fun fireworks. You see.
Wow.
Before so Michael, do you want to just look at the right-hand side room? Or
sure, we can do that. So we're going to just watch the closed room.
Yes.
Which is...
And you say that right after Jeff Wolfson himself bid 6 clubs?
Yes, spoiler.
Jeff Wolfson bidding 6 clubs is not a shock since he likes to bid.
He is a bidder. He is a bidder. It's a bidder's game, though.
It's a bidder's game.
The play in 6 clubs will be very interesting, rather than this 3-0. So maybe I spoke too soon.
We'll get to 6 clubs on the next board, hopefully, or some similar contract from north south.
Why don't we go check it out at least?
Let's reset, Adam. Reset. Here we are. Welcome everyone. We're watching the senior team trials for USA1. Remember that 2 teams are going to be qualifying, so even if they lose this match, they will enter into the pool for USA2. We are watching this table because we happen to know some of these people. Dana, why don't you do an introduction of us, because I'm getting a call from AAA.
Sure. So East, David Berkowitz, is related to both me and the person here labeled Jan Martel, who is no such thing. And West, Larry Cohen, is his very good friend and longtime partner, as many may remember, and Jan Martel's current employer, at least as evident by his background, which we can't see right now. Larry's a bridge teacher, and so is my brother Michael Berkowitz, and so we have the bridge with Larry Cohen in the background there. And we also have with us honorary Berkowitz Adam Kaplan. Good morning.
I am not
Adam.
related to any of the Berkowitzes, but I spend enough time hanging out with them that it works out well.
He is welcome into our family.
Thank you. Okay. So
sorry, my card died yesterday, and as a result, I chose to answer AAA calls today.
So can we see? Let's see. I'm having a hard time seeing East's hand. Is there a way to hold on, I can minimize this? Okay.
It feels like it might be a you problem. Is it a you problem or is it a me problem? Is it better?
I think all of my problems are you problems, frankly. So
okay.
I'm putting that one in the next bulletin.
Yeah, I think the other view was better if we can do that. But
which is the other view? Like
without having the no. Like where you sort of zoomed out a second ago, but it's fine. We have cards. So we see David choosing not to preempt this hand. He's favorable in first chair.
Would you preempt, Adam?
I would.
Yeah, please.
I mean, I will say, if I wasn't favorable and wasn't in first seat, I would feel a little bad about preempting. But you give me this hand in this position, and I have to bid.
I think Dad and Larry have higher standards. I've heard a story from them a number of times when Dad opened 3 hearts and was in 3 hearts or 3 spades doubled in the finals of blue ribbon pairs, going down for 500 or 800. And Larry was thrilled because he knew the entire rest of the room would be in 4 doubled down an extra trick. And so that was definitely historically their style, to be a pretty sound preempting pair, despite Larry's history with Marty Bergen.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Well, so I mean, certainly, if they're not preempting this hand, they have to be at least a little bit civilized.
Uh-oh, they look like they might have found a diamond fit. Diamonds is a shaky spot to play in.
Well, if they
I guess you
find
can only-
diamond fit and can find the 10 of diamonds, then that's the then that's good. But yeah, I mean, this auction is a little tricky because South, of course, wants to be slamming, but is worried about, you know, how good are partners' diamonds.
Mhm. I guess the ace of hearts isn't 1000% useless because it can throw the jack of spades, although you could have also gotten rid of your spade losers on the other hand. So the ace of hearts is a fairly useless value, all things considered.
Right. Well, so the play in 6 clubs at the other table, I haven't been watching what actually happened, but on a heart lead, declare could double dummy make, because they could win the ace of hearts pitching a spade and play a diamond to the 8, and later play the jack. And I actually don't think it's that far from plausible to do this, seeing as these preempted.
They did find the youthful preempt. We are watching the senior trials, so the style might be a little bit more along the David Berkowitz style than it is the Marty Bergen style, although Marty Bergen isn't a youth either, so.
It is true.
A diamond
you
to the
never answered.
8 would have been a very sexy play, I have to say.
Donna, you never answered, by the way. Would you have preempted with the East hand?
I wouldn't. Not at imps anyway. Match points, I could be convinced.
Boo.
Boo, boo hiss. Michael, would you?
I probably would, just again, for the reasons that Adam mentioned, first seat white red. My general belief is that first seat white red, if an idea strikes you, like that's the time to try out ideas.
Listen to the voice in your head that's telling you things. It can be trusted.
Right. Normally you want to ignore the bad voice in your head that says some of these things, but
I don't
in
know.
this
The bad
particular-
voice in my head always says there's exclusion, and it appears that the voice in the South's head seems to agree.
Yes. This does feel like exclusion in partner suit.
Yes. Yes, most definitely does. And it's a creative choice.
How would you feel about the answer 0?
Well, it depends. If the answer 0 is 5 spades, not great. But you almost wish that the answer 0 would be 5 no trump so that you could pass it.
Ah.
But sadly, today partner will have 1, and it looks like rather they did go down in 6 clubs in the other room, which, you know, bar on a non-heart lead is basically a given. There's no hope in 6 clubs, but on a heart lead with the information that East has a weak preempt, I actually think that you probably should make it. Like, you win the ace of hearts pitching a spade, play a diamond to the 8, and you play East for 10 or Jack Doubleton and diamonds.
All right, you'd like to see how 6 clubs played. We're going to test out my ability to navigate Love Bridge for our first time. Let's see.
Pressure's on, Michael. Pressure's on.
The opening lead was, in fact, the Queen of Hearts.
Yes, and ducking is unfortunately
Now you only have one way of playing diamonds.
Right. Well, because you only have one entry to the dummy, and the lead gives you a second one, which opens up possibilities in the diamonds
Yeah.
that
All right.
he chose not to take.
So from this point, there's no winning line in it. I mean,
Right.
I guess he could be playing for ace and a diamond or king and a diamond is probably
Right. He was playing for the king of diamonds on side, or for it to be king Doubleton with West, where he would guess the situation.
yeah.
But that feels pretty inferior when your righty has preempted. feels like you want to be winning the ace of hearts, pitching your spade loser and taking advantage of that dummy entry to potentially try to pick up the diamond suit. I don't actually think it's that. I don't think it's as double dummy or as egregious as it sounded. But
It doesn't sound egregious. It just sounded like a thrill to me, because among other things, you have to do it before you pull trump. It's very exciting. It's a very exciting play.
Back to the closed room we go.
Yes. And
Where
here
we
they
have
are.
landed in 6 diamonds and
we-
6 diamonds with no information. The nice thing about not preempting is your opponents don't have this extra information. Down 1 it went.
Yes. Yes.
There is always a downside, and I think that it's a little bit less with these preempts of 2 or 3 hearts, but often you see this with like Michael's preempts where it just declare a roadmap for the hand. So you want to be a little careful about when you.
I would say it actually happens surprisingly often, even with normal preempts. But you're essentially trading off giving a tremendous amount of information away with giving your opponents a problem in the auction. And if they survive the auction, the chances that they will survive the play go up after you've preempted, assuming that you have sort of a normal traditional preempt.
Yeah. So Michael Capera notes that it looks like the time penalties might have changed. We don't know anything about that, but we can see if someone shows up who does. So if anyone has any information about that, let us know. But we don't know anything about it.
I don't think the time penalties have changed. I think there was varying reasons yesterday for the time penalties. A couple people, I think, were late for the set and had some penalties from that. And then there was the actual sort of, your slow play penalties as well on top of that. And that all sort of gets lumped together into the main adjustment thing. So, yeah,
the penalties are pretty draconian in this tournament. If you do not show up on time, it's an imp a minute, right? For the first 5 minutes or something like that.
Right. Like, and then I think it gets to be more even.
I think so. Show up on time, and they can tell if you're there because you have to log into your computer. So it's electronic surveillance has come to bridge, for better or for worse.
I would say for better. So here we see your dad taking his life into his hands here with this 3 heart bit. This is sort of a pre-balance of sorts, but red-white, you can easily imagine him just going for his life if he catches the wrong situation. And
Larry is a big fan of pre-balancing, so he did not bury his partner on the 5 level, thinking that they might make 5 hearts, which was wise.
Right. Well, I suppose if his partner pre-balances enough, when he has that hand, he might be thankful to make 3 hearts. Which he would, in fact, not be able to do today.
Pre-balance and a nice lead director also got it in.
Yes. Yes.
So it is
Yeah,
interesting.
nobody's taking each other too seriously though, so that's good.
Yeah. Do you like the south hand evaluation?
Yeah.
6 card spade suit, a singleton, and ace king ace outside.
Pretty great hand with a fit, in my opinion.
Yeah, it feels like it's a bit too strong just to make a maximal double, right? This is sort of at least for a lot of partnerships, when you have this choice between, you can bid just 3 spades over 3 hearts, and it isn't clear whether that's invitational or competitive or whatever else, because you have no room. So a lot of pairs actually play the double here of 3 hearts, since it's just 1 under our trump suit, is sort of like a good 3 spade bid. It's the invitational hand rather than being pure penalty. And it does mean that your dad was a little bit maybe less likely to get murdered in 3 hearts because of this. It was 1 under the trump suit, but that South could have maybe doubled to say, hey, I have a good 3-spade bid. Are you interested in playing game?
By the way, he thought he had been extra brilliant right up until the point where South roughed this, because he's like ace of
Exactly.
spades and a spade lead, ace of hearts and a heart lead. This is like, 3 rounds of hearts and the ace of spades. Let's go.
And then disappointment and sadness.
Yeah.
The
Here's
usual fate.
the usual fate, indeed.
And here we see
Speaking of disappointment,
Right,
sorry, go
playing
ahead, Adam.
short spades, so leading a spade off the dummy in case maybe he had stiff ace or something like that. And here, the second spade will pick up the suit.
Speaking of disappointment and sadness, mom was in 6 clubs on the previous hand, got a heart lead, and then did the same thing that everybody else did and drew trump and played for the king of diamonds to be onside. I think it's really tough to do anything else, because among other things, your line will just go down anytime there's a stiff diamond in East also. So
Yes, except that you were always going down if that was the case. And so,
well, that's true. If it's a stiff diamond and not the stiff.
this is the sort of hand where you're not thinking so much about under tricks, in your slam,
Sure.
and so I do think that it is a strictly better play in theory. In practice, it's a little bit harder to do at the table, and you may just think that, hey, this the preemptor might have an outside king. But I do think it's actually the right line to take on a heart lead, because you pick up a lot more stuff than the other line.
At least
So
in this one, at least Adam, this time when we're doing commentary, you can't be like, well, but they're there and I'm not anymore. Right.
Right.
Now
I
you are
am
no longer
underqualified to be there now,
Yeah.
in age terms at least.
I would say you've played enough bridge in your life that maybe you should be eligible. Maybe it shouldn't be like an age, but a number of deals played lifetime.
Mhm.
So here we see a precision 2 club opening.
That is a solid 2 club opening.
Very
What does that show, Michael?
usually like 10 to 15 points and 5 or usually a 6-card spade suit, 6-card club suit. Sorry, not 6-card spade suit. 6-card club suit, and they can have whatever else outside of it.
Can they have a 4-card spade suit outside of it? For example?
Absolutely, they can have a 4-card spade suit. They actually can have a 5-card spade suit. I've heard of that. There are responses. I play some version of their notes with mom from time to time, and they did have a response to an asking bid that showed like a 5-card major.
Wow.
But it is always 6 or more clubs, right? They don't play that it can be 5 clubs and a 4-card major.
Right.
But
they do not play that, no.
Right.
It should be a 6-card suit.
And so here we see David bidding 2 spades, which is forcing 1 round, which he's not really thrilled about, but kind of feels like is necessary to do because, hey, maybe partner actually has some sort of spade fit where this hand is very good. Hearing 3 diamonds from partner is just like, I think at this point you pass almost.
I think he's going to pass, even though sadness. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. You can kind of picture him saying out loud in his mind, "Oi."
That is what he would say. Oy.
Yes.
And I'll take money that North leads a diamond. It feels pretty
Yes.
auto.
This is an option that I don't care what your holdings are in diamonds. If you have one, you lead it.
Yeah. Adam was getting very angry when people weren't leading Trump last segment.
Yes. Yes.
But I think Pratap will lead a Trump here. And there it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Pratap.
So what are his tricks? Let's see.
Well, it
4
turns out
diamond
the
tricks.
clubs are 3-3.
He actually
Everything
has a
is-
surprisingly large amount of tricks.
Yeah, everything's pretty friendly. Except the king of clubs being off. That's a disappointment. But maybe he won't even take a finesse. Maybe he'll play ace of clubs, spade to the ace club.
Feels like he'll win the king of diamonds in the dummy and take a club finesse to start. And assuming that the defense persists in trumps, then he can run the second trump to his 10 and rough a club in the dummy and then draw trumps and claim in theory. Playing for either diamonds to be 3-3 or clubs to be 3-3. And he'll lose a club and 2 hearts. Looks like the other room got a little overzealous and wound up in 3-0 north south, which is decidedly not a great spot.
Yeah, I mean, would Pratap, I'm surprised that Pratap didn't try like a 2 heart bid here. A little bit.
He's got king jack third of clubs. He's red and not that much else outside of that king jack third of clubs. So if it's their side's hand, partner probably has short clubs and can act, right? And if partner can't act with their short clubs or lack of short clubs, it means that it's probably not their hand. So I like this pass here.
Okay. So it looks like Larry is taking the line you figured of taking an immediate club finesse.
Yes, well, it's less stressful when they return a second trump at this point. If they don't return a second trump, then you have to work out, how many roughs is it safe to take, and can I safely draw trump? Now today the hand is extremely friendly, but Larry may spend some time trying to figure out what happens if it isn't, because you could easily lose control on a hand like this.
And then the opponents have 7 million hearts to cash.
Yes.
And we can see that it matters because we see the result in the other room. North-South got to an overzealous 3-0 trump.
Well, it's tricky. I'm watching some other matches where North-South are also going to get pretty high because once North overcalls in hearts, South mistakenly believes that he or she has a pretty good hand for that.
Well, they have a limit raise, and when partner says stop it, they have a no more bidding. Hopefully,
yes, but how well are you going to do in, for example, 3 hearts on this particular layout?
Very, very poorly.
so
actually, I think it's actually possible to draw trumps one at a time in 3 hearts. Because they lead a club to the ace and a club rough, and then king queen and a diamond over in a club rough.
No, you have to play a spade at some point so that you can get your spade rough also.
Spade rough also, yeah, exactly.
You lose what? 3 hearts and 3 diamonds and a club.
And a spade.
I think if they time it right, you could lose 4 hearts. In your 9-card fit to the ace, king, queen, jack, you might lose 4 heart tricks if they time it right.
Right. So I think
that's appalling.
East West actually make 2 hearts.
Oh, sorry, no, they can over rough one of the spades, can't they? No, there's 6. Did he have 7 spades? It doesn't. This is all irrelevant. We're just enjoying ourselves looking at some of this stuff.
The chat makes a kind of hilarious point, which is that there are 5 tricks available in hearts for both north south and east west double dummy.
We often see that kind of thing in no trump, right? Whoever's on lead against no trump makes 2 no trump.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought Larry might do this, by the way, which was to sort of do a replacement loser play of pitching his hearts.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, he may just pitch on these too, right? He may just say, oh well, now I'll just pitch on 2 rounds of spades also for my trouble.
Let's see. He could afford to do that. He's lost 2.
But he actually can't afford to do it, as it turns out, because
They get a promotion.
when they play a heart, and unless he guesses to rough in hand, then play for 3-3 trump at that point. If he roughs to the dummy, then he'll suffer an uppercut.
Can he rough this? And no, not quite. I was thinking if he could cash the ace of diamonds and then play them, but he can't quite get back to.
Right. I
Twice
mean,
the top.
it's a lot easier for us here. We can see, hey, Larry, draw trumps and claim. But a lot harder for him there. It feels like he's probably wants to just rough this and
Rough a heart.
no,
Yeah,
you don't really want to rough your hearts is the thing. Like I think
Yeah.
I think by pitching on the previous trick, he kind of committed to having to play for 3-3 trumps. I think he may just rough this, play a diamond to the queen and diamond to the ace, hold his breath.
Now I know we both said that this is an automatic trump lead, and Larry knows this is an automatic trump lead. But you think some part of him is thinking, well, would he really lead a trump from Jack third? And might.
No, I don't think it should be, because I would lead a trump from king, queen, 10, fourth on this auction. I would lead a trump from king, jack.
Which one?
I would lead a trump. I don't, maybe not the 10, but any of them. I don't care. I would lead a trump from ace, queen, tight on this auction. I mean,
particularly he's shown up with king, jack third.
Right, like there is actually no holding that you could give me that I would not lead a trump.
Oh, this is interesting. He's playing his clubs. He's going to draw trump the hard way.
Yeah, and it's definitely going to be the hard way, because this is a little scary now. I suppose on the king of spade return, he could actually just rough high, play a trump to the queen, and as long as trumps
Oh yeah, then his dummy is good. All of a
splitting at
sudden.
this point, then his spades are good. But
yeah, this is very interesting. You can play the queen of diamonds. No, I can't play the queen of diamonds and overtake. That doesn't work.
this is an ugly spot that he's gotten himself into. I guess he was very convinced that trumps were not 3-3, which is surprising to me, honestly. I think.
Well, if they hadn't been 3-3, he was going to go down like a bajillion, wasn't he? So this way he can hold it to not going down a bajillion.
Right, but at the cost of going down when things are normal, right?
Okay.
It can't actually recover from here, no matter what.
Not with the jack of diamonds where it is.
I mean, even if the jack of
Oh, yeah, because they can just exit a trump now.
Yeah, I mean,
right, and North will have the uppercut position.
Yeah. I don't love this line, but
it seems to be the downside minimization line. Like he wasn't going to get tapped out, so he wasn't going to go down 6 or something silly, 3 or something silly, but does not seem to have maximized his chances.
Well, I mean, he's going down 2, which, or at least he rates to be going down 2, because South will rough this, forcing the player's hand. Rates to be going down 2, which feels a little bit silly. When trumps were 3-3 and clubs were 3-3, right?
True.
So, like, I don't think you can fully avoid some marginal amount of silliness, regardless of how you're sort of going about this hand. So, okay.
All right. Well, now we have a 9 match.
Yes. Exciting.
Those are the types of hands where, like, it's so easy to find something like this where you're just sort of trapped on whatever line you've chosen, and you really didn't want to, like, he really didn't want to play for 3-3 diamonds, so he found himself sort of flailing, and it's like, why did I do that? It's why Larry quit bridge. So we're not gonna say anything mean about it. That's the sort of hand that causes Larry to quit bridge again.
I mean, it is a difficult game. They are difficult problems, but certainly navigating hands like that is tricky because if one misstep and you do wind up going down 2 or 3, and sometimes you do have to decide just how friendly this hand is.
6, 9.
So in the match of Baker versus Wittes, both pairs did reach 3 hearts north south on that hand and did go down 4 vulnerable tricks. So indeed,
Lovely.
5 tricks were available to north south in their ace queen fifth opposite king fourth suit, with half of the high card points among them.
Yes.
In a fairly normal spot. Something about the law. Someone tell Larry something about the law. That's why
Yes.
it went down, by the way. The law was problematic.
The law was unfavorable. You should really,
Yes.
I think, Michael, the plan to be a good employee is to talk to Larry about that hand as much as possible. You should really raise it at every opportunity. Maybe some articles can be written.
So what does it say about the law that with 4 trumps combined between the partnership, you can take 5 tricks? Declaring in that suit. It seems like there's a little mismatch there.
Okay, so we have
there is 10 total tricks with hearts as trump. It's like,
so on this auction, is it 100% clear that Larry's offering 2 places to play?
I think so. I mean, it depends how often you qubit without support. Personally, I really strain very hard not to qubit without support. And so to me, this does feel like a choice of games of some sort.
So
I have support most of the time.
So it looks like
feels like he doesn't want to let in the south hand at the moment. Or a club.
Because he has 2 spade tricks and presumably 4 heart tricks he's counting. So that's 6.
So club is
A club is 7, a diamond is 8. He does need a 9th trick.
Yeah, I don't think he can make it on this after this lead.
Also, it
has to play
depends.
through.
I mean, so South is going to win this, and what does South do, right?
If South switches to a club, it's the end of the world.
But I don't
Not
think
clear.
South really is going to want to switch to a clubs when they can kind of see that dummy might be a little low on entries, or at the very least that, I mean, yes, partner has likely let a second best spade, but it feels like we just want to be driving spades rather than making clubs, which is, if you switch the 8 and 10 of clubs, for example, breaking clubs is almost catastrophic. So I think South can and will return a spade here.
So they will be entitled to, at that point, 2 spade tricks, a heart, and a diamond. And the question is whether Larry gets his second diamond before they get 5 tricks.
I think he will.
Yeah, I mean, it's.
Well, we can double check the math here, but I think if he doesn't switch to a club right now, I don't think they're beating.
But even if he switches to a club,
oh no, it says a spade can.
Yeah. I mean, even if he switches to a club, declare can still, can win the ace, and it's not like he's going to be able to lead clubs through again, but he just has to lose the lead enough times that it's he wins.
Yeah, this establishes North's 5th trick, right? So they're now entitled to sort of 2 spades, a club, a heart, and a diamond.
Yeah.
I mean, if they didn't shift to clubs here, you could almost imagine North actually being able to play keep away with the dummy if they declare his hand right. But and even as it is, this is actually like transportation wise, this is about to get pretty messy, right? Because declarer has 2 spade tricks they want to enjoy, but the spades are blocked.
Mhm.
Want to be able to run a bunch of hearts, but they don't want to make pitches from their hands. And they want to be able to establish diamonds, but this is going to get a little messy.
Larry's definitely going to want to quit bridge after this one. If he didn't want from the previous board, these 2 in a row are just.
Well, I mean, he hasn't gone down yet. It looks like the other table did finish down one, but
Yeah.
It's true. It's kind of a nightmare for everyone. Pratap has to play, and he's going to be on lead 700 times.
well, I mean,
Well,
when
he
his
can-
shifting to the jack of clubs actually kind of clarifies things a bit, right? Because he knows that he can't play any more clubs, and so he can just exit safely in spades, and be hopefully okay.
Yeah, I mean, if he takes this early, it helps solve some of the communication issues.
Right. I mean, looking at the 9 of hearts, I think he's maybe considering whether declarer could have a double thin heart where taking it early is cost or ducking is costly. But I think the 9 of hearts means that and 9 of hearts and his dislike of being on lead with this hand means that he probably wants to duck this first heart. See his stuff.
Hmm.
So now Larry's in for a world of hurt, honestly, because maybe he'll
But he
play a
tried-
low heart.
That's what I was wondering, if he might try a low heart to hope for ace and 1. But with ace and 1, they wouldn't have held up.
Well, he almost can't play the jack of hearts, because how is he ever going to get back to his hand?
Well, they have to the opponents are going to be on lead at least some. So, I mean, I don't think that he has any way. He doesn't really have any great hope of getting out of this any other way. So I feel like he does want to just play the jack of hearts, drive the ace, and sort of.
Yeah.
So then, I mean, if he did that, the spade is coming back, right? And now he's on the board. He's going to play what?
Yeah, I mean, he eventually leads the queen of diamonds off the board.
And now he might try it. I mean, he had problems before about getting back to his hand in diamond for the eventual diamond.
Well, now
draw.
hearts. Now he can play safely hearts, right? I think he's going to do that
Clear the heart.
and then play a diamond. Okay.
But what if he ducks the next heart? Yeah. Well, then you would attack diamonds, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, his partner's jack of club return kind of gives away what's going on in the club suit, right? That declarer has ace queen 5th or 6th most likely.
Mhm.
You can kind of see that whatever is going on, he needs to continue to sort of attack their transportation, and hope as long as that he can keep declarer locked in the dummy, he'll be okay. Right, because their side will get at least one more heart and a diamond and a club, and then declarer has to give up one more in the wash. Because there's
Right, but he doesn't know that the declarer doesn't have, say, king 3rd of diamonds, right?
where did the 5th diamond go?
He pitched it. South pitched it.
Pitched. South pitched.
Okay, so you can probably work out that South wouldn't be pitching a diamond from 4.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true. That's a good point.
And
And
it's
South
sort
also
of
had a singleton heart.
both the idle 5th principle, right? That often when your opponents have to make a pitch, their first choice is going to be their random 5-card suit that they don't have any grand plans for, right? So the idea of an idle 5th, and on top of that, if partner had 4 diamonds, they can see that there's 4 in the dummy. And so if they had 4 diamonds to the 9 or something, they probably would have held on to them.
He's choosing to win this. And I guess a spade is coming next.
Mhm.
So now he's going to cash the hearts, I think, pitching clubs and praying. Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, North
And playing
doesn't
it.
love pitching on the second heart.
He
Right, but
doesn't.
it's just enough tricks at that point, isn't it? If they've already taken 1, they get 2 spades. The king, like he can count 5 tricks in his hand. North can count 5 tricks in his hand.
Well, they don't have 5 spades anymore. Look. What is he going to pitch? What do you propose that he pitch on the second?
On the second, can he pitch a club and a diamond? Oh no, because they haven't set up the spade yet. I see.
Can pitch a
They can pitch a
diamond
club. Oh,
because declares diamonds are blocked. Right. And I think he'll be able to work that out to some extent, because again, the
Wait, if he pitches a diamond, don't we just have 9 tricks?
yeah.
He
If he
has
pitches the jack of diamonds, the player just plays a diamond to the
king.
king.
yeah, this is true.
So he has to pitch a.
Right, he has to pitch a
Club?
spade. No, you can't afford to pitch a club.
Because then he can duck a club.
No, he can't duck a club
Why can't he just play a club?
because then he loses. Because then, he does. Wow, this is
This
intense.
is interesting. Larry might come back to bridge after this hand if he knows.
Right, well, I mean, like this now, even if he ducks the diamond, right, he's about to get end played is the problem. I think he needed to pitch the diamond.
I think he maybe needed to duck the heart at some point. I don't know.
He needed to do
We
something.
don't know. We'll go back and double dummy this to see where
For the expert commentary, guys.
the defense went wrong. But I mean, this is hard stuff.
We're watching all 4 hands bemoaning poor
Still
Larry's
don't know what's
chances, and he's absolutely about to wrap 3-0 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think he does know what, especially when North is thinking now.
Yeah, this is
He
good.
does-
The
he
think
does
is
know
very good
sort of
news.
What's
South has
about
pitched-
to happen, right? That
South
if
has now played 4 diamonds. There's just no way that North is thinking and doesn't have the jack of diamonds here. So it's
Right.
Well, it's all sort of irrelevant. He only has 1.
Right. I mean, what'll happen one way or the other, right, is that if North ducks, then he'll know that he can safely cash a spade and exit a diamond, and
right.
Yeah.
then North is end played in the ending. Or if North wins, then they have to play something, and that's not going to be very good for them. Oh, I see what happened.
What happened? Tell us. We need to know.
South pitched they pitched too many diamonds. If South kept their diamonds,
Mhm.
right, then he could win the ace of diamonds and exit the jack and declare, yes, they would get the queen of diamonds.
Oh, but they'd be trapped in dummy.
But they would be trapped in dummy. Exactly.
So South has to
South-
pitch clubs and spades, which is also
right.
not
I
that
mean,
easy.
they're 9. They already shifted the jack of clubs. There's not any, there's nothing that they're really hoping for here,
Yeah.
right?
Right. It wasn't like they were going to get in anything. They just had to guard the diamonds.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wow. And Larry claimed claimed on the tank. Like, I know what's
Well,
happening now.
Okay. Well,
He
well done by
probably-
Larry. But yeah,
So the
South
claim,
Africa-
he could be talking to his screen mate South and say, "You have nothing, right? Okay, he's end play."
Yeah.
We can put him out of his misery.
Well, I think once he won, actually he chose to win the ace of diamonds, so that was just enough. Now he had seen enough.
Yes, but well done by Larry.
Well done by Larry. He's not quitting bridge after all, maybe.
So this is a fun hand. Adam and I would undoubtedly find our way to 7 clubs or something down 1.
7 clubs. I would hope that we could ask for aces somewhere between 2 clubs.
Hopefully. It seems to have drawn people to 3-0, which looks like the normal sensible contract, although when clubs are 2-2.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when clubs are 2-2, slam is nice,
Slam is
but it's pretty much
pretty good.
impossible. I mean, not only is it sort of a perfect fit to some extent, but North just doesn't really have the sort of hand that would want to be that has the strength to be slamming.
Indeed.
Opposite a normal 2-club and then 2-0 rebid.
9 fit the clubs, Adam. 9. Look at those clubs. It's practically a sequence.
Practically.
You and
Like,
confirm
for
for us.
rummy
by the way.
purposes, yes. For other purposes, not so much.
It's a pretty good Fantan hand, dominoes.
I was actually thinking that, but the Ace of Hearts ruins it.
Does it though? Like, what if you started dominoes 5s or something? Anyway,
You guys are the worst.
we could debate the merits of the start card for a dominoes.
You want to tell them what you're talking about for those people who are very confused?
So there's an old betting game called Barbu that many bridge players play. There's actually an online platform for it. That's awesome. So thank you, Shireen, Mohandas, and Andy. You guys are the best. And everybody who built the new platform. It's great. So anybody who's interested in Barbu, email me. I'm personally retired from the game, but it's fabulous. One of the games in it is a sort of dominoes. So you have to play. The idea is to get rid of all of your cards in order. So that is what we were discussing. The prospects for that North Hand.
We're commentating trying to get people excited about bridge, and here we are selling them on other games.
Well, bridge is a gateway drug to all sorts of games.
Yes, this is true. This is true.
Yes, it's known as an intro game. That's definitely Bridge's role in the.
Yeah.
Well, once you've gotten hooked on bridge, I say all other games are available for your entertainment.
There is not a lot to the play on this one, so I think it's, by the way, a really good lesson deal on the last one. We talked about the fact that South pitching diamonds, and Ewan confirmed for us that was the fatal part of that hand, and South had a 4 count. And the thing that we love about bridge is that when you have those 4 counts, you still have to think and defend and play well, because that was the key of the entire thing, is whether South holds on to their cards or not.
Yes. Well, and I think South should have worked it out, because they could see that dummy had the Queen 10/4 of diamonds, and all of the other cards in their hand were pretty much known to be useless, right? And so just following the sort of keep winners, pitch losers to its, to its extreme, right? South could see that most of their other cards were unlikely to be needed for something else. And so they may not have been able to work out exactly why they needed to keep the diamonds in the moment, but so much as they just as a sort of force of habit thing may have been able to work it. And here we see David unblocking the Jack of clubs, hoping that maybe partner has some club holding where that matters, although I suppose there's not very many holdings where that's the case. So
I in terms of keep winners pitching losers, Chris tells a story of playing at a world championships once, and there's a language barrier, but he sees the opponent's card, the convention card, and under discards it says losers, which fair enough. But apparently he did ask for some more information, and there was no further information given, so opponents were forbidden from signaling in their
their signals were, I have a loser in this suit.
Yes.
And now that I've played it, I no longer have a loser in this suit. Good thing.
I mean, I agree generally that discarding losers is a winning strategy. So I don't know what the habit was, but
It's always sad when you're like, oh, I'm not paying that much attention, and you're like, oh shoot, was that one the good one or the bad one? I guess it would have been good had I kept it.
Yes. So here we see Declarer may choose to take a heart finesse before playing this 4th club, so that they still have an entry to the dummy. once the heart finesse wins or loses.
I think Declare will do that.
Oh, this is cute. They can just overtake too. If it
Yeah,
loses.
interesting solution. And here we see, and
I
so
like it.
now David has to cash his ace. Or I guess he can exit a heart safely. but
Hey, he's getting all the match points.
yes, yes. And he will get an imp for his trouble, seeing as they made 11 in the other room.
All right, so the lead is back up to 20 now for the Wolfson squad.
Mhm.
Ooh. This is fun.
Too good for four spades or just four spades?
Well, over a one club opening, I say four spades looks pretty good.
Yeah, yeah. I think as an opening bid, I would be tempted. I mean, at red, I might still do it, but
Yeah.
you know, it's getting borderline, right? With such a good spade suit. And here, this is another situation where it's really good to know what your 4-no trump bids mean. Right? Is 4-no trump key card? Is it takeout? Is it to play? You know, I think you can make an argument for 2 out of the 3 here. And in fact, you know, whether or not North should do it in the first place is perhaps debatable, right? You know, North can easily see that 4 spades maybe would be going down when a 5-level contract is itself doomed.
Yeah. And it looks like when Larry picked up his 5 loser hand, he's going to wind up with 5 losers if they pass this, which I think South has not a whole lot to think about here, right? Would you
Right.
ever?
So I mean, South has a normal balanced minimum opener. Right?
Yeah.
The partner said that they have values, and so they say, okay, great, let's defend 4 spades.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah,
when you're
North
doubling
did
4
well to
spades,
take the money on this hand, as it turns out. He was
yeah, this isn't an invitation to be bidding all that much. I mean,
It is a negative double, right? We are
someone-
clear that this is a negative. It is not purely a penalty double. It's just my go-to stock phrase as a teacher is that double is I have the values to compete and I don't know what to do.
Mhm.
Oh no, I missed it. He's actually going to lose 6 tricks on his. Oh no, he has to guess.
I would hope that he won't lose 6.
Oh no, he has a stiff. Sorry, he has a stiff club. I take it back.
Yeah, I would think that most likely
Yeah, he's going to lose his 5 tricks.
the defense, like South will shift to a trump at this point. They can see that you know, there's a very real threat of things being roughed in the dummy. But it's not, it's actually, it's a little scary for South because they can see that, you know, they only have 2 little diamonds. So they're not exactly sure what's going on in the diamond suit. And, you know, they don't, there's a chance that some of their tricks could go away. Right. But
How did the auction go? Yeah. How did the auction go in the other room?
North did bid 4-no over 4 spades.
Yeah. Reasonably, I think.
Then East started doubling, and then they wound up in 5 hearts, which is not like on its face, it's not that horrific of a contract, right? You only have 2 losers, but you just don't have, you have so much work to do. And
Hearts, right. And the diamonds are very unfavorable and the hearts do not split. So it just seems doomed.
yeah, you come up at least a trick short, maybe even 2. It looks like they came up 1 trick short in the other room, but may have been.
Yeah, so this is sort of like a take the money kind of lesson, or at least at Imps, right? Where North could have tried to find a pretty aggressive game or slam in one of those suits, but he just sort of double to show values, and you know that this is probably going down.
Yeah, and I have to say, I don't particularly like 4-no, especially, you know, you have stiff queen of spades, your suits are really dismal. Like, you can so easily imagine cases where it's as bad. This is interesting. So Declare choosing not to play the last trump, I guess trying not to let South complete an echo in trumps or something. or trying to keep North in the dark about that, so that maybe North would choose to duck the ace of diamonds, but they have not done that. And so well done by them. And so now, they can shift to hearts and pick up some heart tricks, and there's just sort of 3 more losers at the end.
Yeah. Mary might even just claim at this point.
Yeah, I mean, South.
So this was the par result. 4 spades double down 2.
Mhm.
For all the good it does them. And he'll exit a spade just in case there's some positional thing, probably.
He can't be certain that Declare doesn't have a second diamond.
Oh, so does he need to cash? Oh, you're right.
Right. He's going to be agonizing about what order to cash in when I guess both Larry and Rata know that unless the order cashing involves revoking or giving access to dummy, it's probably a non-issue.
Yeah.
I mean, this is actually this is the sort of hand and the sort of situation where there's just enough of a chance of a defensive mishap still to where you don't want to claim, but where it feels a little bad to have to let your opponent sort of waste their partnership clock, trying to work out if anything matters when you can be pretty sure that nothing does.
I am confident that he's not going to play Diamondback, so all roads lead to Rome here.
Right.
Right.
Even if he cashes the ace of clubs, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting ethical and practical problem, right? Because you do want to let your opponents have a chance to make a mistake. But if you let your opponents will also be thinking, why haven't they claimed yet, right? Like what am I missing here? And so it's a tricky balance to strike with these partnership clocks.
All right, we see the imps piling up for Goodman on these types of deals where both the Wolfson pairs find contracts that go down. You don't have to make up imps on some of these. Anyway. What's going to happen here? Club. What do you think? Do you think our father will overcall with this East hand?
Let me see. I will be the judge. No.
Yeah, I would bet no as well.
Although he does kind of want a spade lead. I take back my confident no and say probably no.
Would either of you?
There's a rule, right? If you don't bid 1 spade and partner doesn't lead spades against no trump, it's your fault. And here he does want to lead spade lead probably against 1 no trump.
If only because everything else might be worse.
Everything else is terrible given his hand.
He's feeling better about his non-spade bid at this point, though.
Partner's a past hand. My spades are not so good as to warrant mentioning them, I don't think. And the rest of my hand is truly dismal.
It is true.
It really is. It's the worst hand ever. So Pratap has rebid 1 no trump because everything else looks much worse. And partner, right, in theory, has spades.
This is the I guess theoretically the worst shape for standard bidders in terms of having to make uncomfortable rebids. Because, well, you can't rebid 2 hearts because that's a reverse. You can't rebid 2 diamonds because that's a reverse. Rebidding 2 clubs on 5 is kind of sad, and rebidding 1 no on a singleton is kind of sad. But
all right, Adam, with you, I would not be game forcing with this south end.
I think with any of my partners, I personally would not, but it really just depends on how many 11s you open. Right.
Yeah.
Whether this 1 no trump is like 11 to a bad 14, or whether it's, or even 11 to 13, or whether it's like a good 11 to most 14s.
Don't you think that for the senior trials, they should all be forced to play Gorin Bridge?
16 to 18.
Yeah. 13 counts to open, 16 to 18. Like, if we're gonna make it a senior event, let's make it.
Right, we have to really commit to it. Like,
You
reserve
can't
the
play any
fun and
conventions.
aggressive bidding for us children.
You can't play any conventions that were invented after 1980. You must only play. We could have a good time.
That would be pretty hilarious, actually. And it would force me to learn a lot of bridge history, because I have no idea when some of these things were invented.
It'd be pretty fun. 4-card majors, all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
I
This
think
came up. I'm discussing some partnership stuff with somebody I'll be playing with soon, and they mentioned that they wanted to play 30-14. And I said, well, your hair isn't gray enough for that, because it's such a sort of baseline assumption that anyone over 40 plays 30-14 and anyone under 40 plays 14-30.
I don't know. I feel like the age might be even 45 or 50 for that cutoff.
It was 40 like 10 or 15 years ago. So yeah, that would track.
Well, I think how about we make the rule that the most recent convention they're allowed to play is negative doubles. So that was originally called Sputnik, I think, by Al Roth. So whenever Sputnik was in the news, that was
what, 1957?
Yeah, let's
so
say
meanwhile,
that.
having not bid spades, Dad wasn't sure he was supposed to lead one either. And he kind of it wasn't clear what to lead.
Yeah, well, I guess he figured that if his partner had 5 or 6 hearts, they might have been more likely to bid or double. So if he was searching for partner's 5-card suit, he figured diamonds was the most likely place for that to be. But quite honestly, I think I don't particularly like not leading a spade here. You do have 5 spades with some spots, so if partner might be able to save the day for you. And here, this in fact actually blows up the diamond suit, as it turns out.
Yeah. So he's gonna lead a club up dummy next, right?
Well, he's in his hand.
Oh, he's in his hand. So he's gonna lead a club from his hand. Sorry.
Yes, and he will have to guess what's going on in the club suit. But he might be aided by the fact that
he's getting
East has chosen this rather like on this sort of auction. It's pretty strange to lead a diamond. The 6 of diamonds. I mean, what does East have for this, right?
Let's see.
Maybe the jack of clubs.
This gets
maybe the jack, maybe the ace.
The ace, jack, 4th of clubs, potentially.
Yeah.
So I think they play regular Smith Echo, and Dad played the lowest heart that he had to say, I am sorry about the lead partner. I do not like diamonds. And Larry did the same thing. Also played his lowest hearts to say, please don't do that again. Try something else.
Huh. The declarer here, having gotten 2 heart tricks in the bag, has to be starting to think about shifting to clubs, right? Because they already have 3 tricks, and they have 3 more pointy tricks, the ace, queen of diamonds, and the ace of spades. So now if they can just get enough club tricks, they're home.
And they will on this start. I think they're heavily favored,
especially with the queen of clubs holding the trick. That another club should reveal the situation rather quickly. And essentially, the hand just comes down to needing to guess the jack of clubs. If declarer guesses correctly, then even on perfect events, I think there's only 4 tricks for East West. But otherwise, they can get 2 clubs, a heart, and 2 spades for down 1 if declarer misguesses.
I report some exciting developments in the other match that everybody is watching, obviously, Baker versus Wittes. There have been reversals of fortune, and Wittes is now leading 30-12. This 4 spades doubled was the contract on board 7, as in Dad and Larry's table. And at one of the tables, there was defensive miscues, and it actually came home for a 15-imp swim.
That is a lot of miscues.
It was a series of unfortunate events.
Yes,
For the
and put
defense
this
on that
plural
one.
there, because just one unfortunate event is not enough to let 4 spades through.
That's true.
But yes.
So
Yeah,
some good news for the Berkowitz well-wishers among the people who are watching, who might just be me and Michael, but I'm just going to attribute that to everyone. You know, we're all obviously Team Lisa Berkowitz here. So
Go mom.
Yes.
Controversial take. I know it's a controversial take.
I heart mom. Come for me, haters.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not afraid to say it in the broadcast.
And here we see Pratap is, of course, scrambling home with his 9 tricks, having gotten clubs right, and not really.
He is. He's not even going to
taking
bother
any
to
time
take
mess
his
around any of the other suits.
perhaps indicated diamond line, because he doesn't need to.
Yes.
So do we want to see what the other table happened on the make 3 now?
Well, I think we know pretty well that they just got clubs wrong.
Where are we? We're in this. You think they just got clubs wrong? So
Yeah.
was it a spade lead? No, they didn't lead a spade. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fine, Adam. You win.
Yeah, the queen of clubs off the board was very interesting. It was a very successful play there.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Well, I mean, there was not really much to go off of, is the thing.
Yeah.
It's not like there was. It's not like it was some great error or some great surprise from either side. Truthfully, it feels pretty reasonable to simply have started with.
I will say the defense is significantly easier when you can see the singleton ace of spades and dummy.
True.
Yes. Yes. We need to go to the live things that are happening now.
Fine.
Fine. So good. We have a new leader. Goodman has taken the lead in this match.
Exciting. Isn't that like only one Berkowitz can win imps at a time? Is that the deal? That
The
when
law
you're
of conservation of
piling
imps.
them on, that they're slipping over here and vice versa.
The law of conservation of imps for Berkowitzes. Yeah, but I mean, to Adam's point about it kind of being, unclear how to play clubs, this is the kind of sort of big swing, 10 imps are riding on it, that 2-day matches are sort of designed to even out. The idea being, you'll have some good breaks, the opponents will have some good breaks, and in the long enough run, hopefully the stronger team will prevail. Obviously, that's not always the case, because sometimes, for one reason or another, all those guesses seem to go in one direction. But generally, I think 2-day matches are really pretty formful, and that's why these US trials are so grueling and take absolutely forever, because we're really trying to select the strongest teams to represent the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And here we see sort of an interesting hand evaluation choice from David here, that he'd kind of like to. Yes, he has 11, but his queen of diamonds starts looking far, far worse on this sort of auction, and so he may correct 3 hearts to 3 spades to sort of get the message across that, hey, I have 4 spades and some values, but not enough to really force to game.
So is your understanding that 3 spade bid is not forcing Larry can pass now?
Yes, or at least given that he's a passed hand, I think so. But this is sort of just values and only 4 spades.
Would you have
Maybe.
opened the east hand?
No. Does that mean I get to play in the senior trials?
I think it might. Yeah, you're red. I mean, certainly playing precision, it's really unattractive to open a precision diamond.
I mean, I would open it if I was white. I would open it if I was playing precision, because just stylistically, then we pretty much open all 11s. But playing with Dana, let's say, I would not open this.
So can they avoid one in each here?
Well, there's a lot of handling to do. I mean,
Mhm.
South is kind of running the show here in that
Yeah, they have. It's a good
I think there would
contract,
have
but
to be a very interesting view taken in spades to avoid a spade loser, right? Because if he plays another diamond now, which seems likely, he's going to have to rough, which means that dad has to finesse on the first round of spades.
right. I don't think he's gonna make this.
Yeah, I mean, and this is going to be another case of, I guess, Wolfson team not making either of their contracts that they bid. Yeah, I think South here is kind of in the driver's seat. They can tell that Declare has 4 spades, and they must have most of the remaining values. So probably at least the king jack, if not king queen of clubs. So South is kind of, they can see that they have probably 3 tricks in their own hand, and hoping, or trying to figure out, maybe we could tap the declarer, or at least, do something here to get up.
Oh,
But
yeah, it still doesn't matter.
it's still pretty bad. Like
There
there's
still has to
there's
rough a
so
diamond
much
on their
diamond
own.
on this hand,
Yeah.
right? Like you have to park the queen of diamonds somewhere, and unless you're taking a Trump finesse weight, shockingly early, that's not going to happen. So, and I guess actually I missed it, but I believe that North played a high diamond on the ace, like the 6 or 7 of diamonds,
Yeah.
something like that. So that was likely a sort of suit preference signal, since it was clear that, hey, we're probably not continuing diamonds right now. Where do I have some values for you to shift to? And if North doesn't have much to speak of, but the Queen of Hearts, in fact, will be enough to beat this.
Yeah. An eminently reasonable contract. I mean, it just needed 3-2 trumps.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they have one in each,
Very much
one of
so.
those are in each other's suit, but. And not a club ref, I suppose, but
Yeah, but it's
you
not.
certainly want to be in 4 spades.
Yeah, I mean, red at imps, I'm happy to be in 4 spades. But
White at match points, I'm happy to be in 4 spades.
yeah, okay, fine. That too.
You guys, I'm unhappy to be in 4 spades because it happens to go down. So
I say very outcome driven.
it's all about the result, really.
Dana wants results. Give her good results.
There is no try.
Yeah, it is interesting that this does seem to be just how they keep losing imps, is not by making contracts that the opponents aren't in, but by bidding too much. Oh, I would
Too
argue
much
that
on these hands, where, to be a little bit serious, obviously, they have reached a totally valid contract, especially red at imps, especially at this format of scoring. So
yeah, and what do you think about this sort of thought by the north-south pair about getting to 5 diamonds? I mean, often it's sort of cheap insurance, right? But the problem is when 4 spades goes down, turns out not to be so cheap.
So what if he plays? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was thinking about the play. What if he plays a club to the queen, roughs a diamond, and plays clubs? Does South kind of get end played?
With their, well, aren't they getting a heart still?
Winners.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
There's not really enough trumps in the deck to be able to benefit from being in play, right? Because
yeah, I guess that's true. So he's going to go about his business and quietly go down 1.
I mean, they could even just rough in and play a trump, and
yeah,
it would all be the same.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no place to park the heart loser.
Yeah.
So in the other room, South just leapt to 5 diamonds over partner's weak raise, which feels like there's a world where that's the correct thing to do, right? You give your opponents a bidding problem. But today, when you have, when this is the layout, when partner has 4 hearts and the opponents are playing in spades, this is of course not a win. But I do feel for South. I mean, their partner made a weak raise, they're favorable, and they're looking at Jack Doubleton of hearts. They kind of wanted to force the opponents to decide whether to bid on the 5 level right away, rather than giving them some room to maneuver. And today they paid dearly for that. But it's as a general principle, bidding to the level that you're planning to bid anyway, can often give your opponents more of a problem, more of a guess, than going more slowly. Right. So if they decided, hey, I'm going to bid out 5 diamonds pretty much no matter what happens here, then doing it right away, at least some of the time when it's wrong, maybe the opponents will guess wrong themselves.
So there's an old saying that a David Berkowitz 2 hearts is an Adam Kaplan 3 hearts.
Oh, if that's not an old saying yet, it should be. What sayest Adam Kaplan to this?
Red? No, thank you. White. White, if you move the queen of diamonds into clubs, I would consider it. But no, this is I'm allowed to have my bid sometimes. It's shocking.
You really are eligible to play in this event, Adam.
I am.
All right, so we see a Laban-Solly thing happening here.
So for your students, Michael, what does that 2-0 mean? How do you explain this bid?
Is going to be a relay to 3 clubs to describe a variety of hand types, including signing off in 3 diamonds, which is what I think their plan was here. And
so is South allowed to just bid 3-0 like that? What are the rules about what South does in response to the Laban-Solly 2-0?
If South has their normal takeout double, they just bid 3 clubs and let their partner tell them what's going on. And if South does not have a normal takeout double, and here they don't, they have a 7, 10, what is it, like a 20 something count? 9 and 5 is 14, 21 count. So they chose to bid 3-0 trump because they said, it's nice that you want to stop somewhere, but I'm not letting you sign off.
So how does South know? I mean, I see this mistake or this kind of confusion a lot when I play. How does South know that game is good when South only has 21 high card points? They just sort of bid 3-0 here. Partner might not have anything. What's the logic behind that reasoning?
Well, we know that one of the hands is weak because they preempted and the other hands aren't bidding. So you're just sort of guessing that the remainder of the points are split kind of evenly. So, one hand has about 8, you have 21. So that the other ones are sort of split. The other 10 points are kind of split between West and North. You're likely to have 25.
There you go, folks. There you go. So when the opponents preempt, you can kind of assume that your partner has some values. It's not always true, but it's safe to give your partner, say, 6 or 7 high card points. And so here, South, assuming the partner has 6 or 7 high card points, clearly has a game.
Would you have led as East did the Jack of Spades, or would you have led your 6 card suit?
I think on this auction in particular, I really like leading my suit because it's likely that dummy has at most honor doubleton and hearts, right? Maybe they have 3 hearts, but most of the time they have 2. And so I may in fact need as little as just 10 doubleton, or as it was today, king queen tied in the dummy, for my hearts to be good. Whereas when I'm leading spades, yes, partner is likely to have spade length on this auction, but I need a lot more for that to be right than I do in the heart suit, where I really do have a lot of control since I have the ace of hearts. And
the other thing is, it's not really like one lead in from partner is going to solve the whole problem.
Right. Well, I mean, really what you need to get you need to run one of your suits to beat 3 now, right? And how are you going to do that? Well, you probably need to either hit gold in the spade suit, or you need to find something reasonably favorable in the heart suit. To me, finding something favorable in the heart suit seems more likely than striking gold in the spades.
And it's a little bit funny because as Dan and I were talking about with this Lebensol thing, even though North is the one who bid no trump first, South is sort of the one promising a stopper and no trump because their partner didn't say anything about having anything.
Right. I mean, sometimes you're sort of stuck, and if South doesn't have a stopper, they can often cube it, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes South will have like a stiff honor or something, and they'll figure that because West didn't raise, kind of a similar principle to what you were talking about in terms of high card points. It also applies a little bit when it comes to hearts and partners hand and stoppers when West doesn't raise, right? The partner rates to have at least a couple of heart, at least let's say 3 hearts on this auction. And so it seems like they did make 6 tricks, or sorry, 12 tricks in the other room, in 3-0 as well. So this will be a push in this match, but certainly a bit of a missed opportunity because, in fact, had they let a heart, I don't think 3-0 had enough tricks. 4 clubs, 2 diamonds, 2 spades, and a heart. That is 9.
That is 9.
So they would have been able to scramble home with just enough, but yeah. Stiff honor and dummy.
Who demands these counting things?
To address the question in chat, stiff honor and dummy is still okay as long as partner has 3, right? And even if they didn't have 3, then we were establishing 2 tricks for our side at a minimum, and can threaten more. So it feels like a heart lead needs less, at least.
So this could be trouble. Would you overcall 2 clubs with a North hand?
I would overcall a no trump.
You would overcall a no trump.
I'm white.
That's less likely to be trouble.
Yeah, I'm white. My opponent has made some sort of nebulous minor thing. In fact, often when the opponents are playing a precision diamond opening, I find that it's more likely that the opponents lead clubs because they assume, hey, well, they bid a no trump, they must have diamonds stopped. And so sometimes the opponents lead clubs or kind of assume that their partner has clubs now. And here you get to be kind of prepared for that.
You wouldn't be worried. I mean, you're not just about anything, but your partner's a passed hand and you do have a very nice looking 14 count, but it is a 14 count.
Adam doesn't go for numbers. He doesn't worry about that.
Well, I mean, I could be going for a number, but I have a pretty good place to land, right? If they double me, I'm not too broken up about landing in 2 clubs.
Sure.
2 diamonds is going to be for the majors here.
Yes.
So question. So here, even over a natural 1 diamond, you might say, well, I have a pretty good hand and I have diamonds stopped, so I can bid 1 no trump. Would you also bid 1 no trump, say, if your ace queen 9 of diamonds were the ace queen 9 of hearts and you just had jack third of diamonds or 3 little diamonds? Would you overcall a no trump then?
Over precision diamond, maybe. But I would be pretty. I would lean towards not, if I'm honest. I really like to have the minors locked up when I do this. Jack third of hearts maybe, or sorry, jack third of diamonds maybe, but 3 low probably.
We may be transferring, by the way, who's in trouble because majors are not so good for East-West here.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, very interesting. He chose not to go for blood with a double there to show penalty of 1 of those suits.
That's actually a little surprising to me because he can see that game is likely to be pushy. And this is another sort of potentially taking the money type thing where, your side has clearly the balance of power and that because partner over called a no trump, it's very unlikely that the opponents have any, have a 8-card fit in one of the majors.
Mm-hmm.
So
We are,
not taking the joke. Okay.
well, we're ping ponging who's in trouble here. I don't know
Everyone's in
how
trouble.
I don't know how much trouble North South are in. It feels like maybe they'll be able to scramble a bunch of tricks here.
Well, let's see.
One.
So the spades are very favorable. I will say that. And
2
David still has to
diamonds,
lead some.
3 clubs, a heart. 2 diamonds, 3 clubs on my fingers, a heart, and probably at least 2 spades now is 8. So
Well, no, because they can only lead spades. Oh yeah, 2 spades, you said, right?
yeah, 2 spades.
So I would imagine Declarer will probably stick in the 9 here and be pleasantly surprised to see the king. But so that's 8, but there's a lot of stuff that has to happen here. You might be able to even take 2 heart tricks, and some or.
Well,
And so-
Larry may well shift to the queen of hearts here when he gets in with the king of spades.
And that feels right, because you might think, oh, my partner probably has, or might have a 5-card suit in one of the 2.
Certainly not spades, given the 2 of spades lead.
Right. And he's not going to be that inclined to play on diamonds, which in fact, as it turns out, is kind of the best thing for them to do, is to start establishing their diamond tricks. But
Well,
Yeah.
getting their heart tricks in isn't so bad.
yeah, I suppose. It's I guess it's all roughly the same. But East has to make what, 2 pitches on clubs, and those are not going to be very fun.
No, this is a very exciting hand. Well, it's the kind of hand when you're watching somebody you love or, rooting hard for, you start to get palpitations. Okay.
Yes, well, in the other room they played 2-0 making 2, so we will see how they fare here. 3-0 double is certainly a little bit more exciting, I will say.
So we had another reversal of fortunes in the closely followed Wittes match.
No, we would like to have the fortunes war. Stop giving us updates.
I'm sorry to report, for those of us on Team Lisa, that West opened a no trump in one of the rooms, and got doubled there and ran to 2 clubs. And North knew what to do about that.
That doesn't seem great, I will say.
So that
They're
was
playing
not,
like
that
10 to
was
12
not a
no
good
trumps or
spot.
something.
How many did they go down?
They went for 1,100, down 5.
I see. That's many hundred.
It was a very, very sad hand from the perspective of East West. This will be this particular board article idea, Mike. This or Adam, also a contributor. Particular board might be interesting to see how it was played at all the different tables and the different matches, because we've seen a wide variety of.
There is the
Contracts.
Queen of Hearts as predicted by Mr. Kaplan.
Well,
By Ms.
this
Berkowitz.
was not my idea, the Queen of
Oh,
Hearts.
Dana, sorry.
This was Dana's
That-
idea.
Dana,
It's a
are you
good
not-
idea, but I
thought-
don't think it was mine. I can't.
I get the 2 of you mixed up a lot.
It happens all the time, Mike.
It's something
Frankly,
about the
happens
voice.
all the time.
People kept getting called Michael. It's like any bridge professional under a certain age was called Michael at the tournament I was at. So like Josh Don got called Michael, and he was very conflicted about how he felt about it.
Nice. You're a star, Mike. What can I tell you? And whereas I am Michael's mean sister most of the time now.
A reversal of fortunes, I suppose.
For those of who might not be aware of what I'm talking about, Michael writes a bridge column, which is really a great column, except that he feels the need to begin basically every column with some story about how I mistreated him when we were children. And so I am known throughout his readership as the bad sister.
Mhm.
Rightfully so. I speak truth.
To power. So how-
Yes,
What do you
that-
think? I mean, he could take a spade hook now, but that's really scary. But he might do
especially
it.
short on entries. Like,
He might try just ace and a club.
I mean, he knows that because East showed majors, right? He knows that West has lots of minor suit stuff, and in fact, when when he saw the 8 of clubs from East, he his mind might be at least thinking that's that's an awfully high club, maybe maybe there's something we can do with the club suit, but here he has this sort of unpleasant choice of to whether to cash the ace of spades or lose it, right? Because this is the last time he's done it.
Yeah, and he can't. I mean, this is a rough scene because he can't take the diamond hook and a club hook. Although at some point, the defenders, at some point, the defenders are probably going to have to play a diamond for him.
Right. The Jack of Diamonds is interesting because it actually, like, the diamond suit is not all that locked up by East West, but
Well, he can't afford to pitch. He's got a hard time. But
right,
now Pratap also has a hard time because Pratap
feels
is
like
going to be.
I mean,
if
it
he
feels
exits
like Pratap is also thinking maybe that David has 5 hearts, right? So he does, even though we can see that maybe he could safely exit a heart, he might be thinking that the Queen of Hearts was a singleton, in which case, he doesn't really want to exit a heart and let them in. He doesn't really want to exit a club because, well, that that gives them a club trick and still doesn't solve any of the other things. And he doesn't really want to exit a diamond because that also doesn't solve things. But so here, I guess he's planning to exit a heart at this point.
I mean, it gets icky if he exits a heart.
That is end played into playing a diamond or a spade. And I guess he.
Right. Well, and on the run of the hearts from like Larry has to make some pitches too, which are not all that.
Although I guess he can exit the 10 of diamonds.
Yes.
Yes. Right. So here the thinking is, hey, we're gonna dump East in with however many hearts they have, but now they have to lead either a spade to me and put me in the dummy, or lead a diamond and give me 2 diamond tricks, right?
So now that Larry pitched the 13th spade to clarify that position.
Yes.
Now he's going to pitch a club, I think.
I think he needs to pitch a club, right? Or the contract will come home.
Yes.
Well, this 9 of hearts is the defense's 4th trick, and so it's going to be pretty tough unless.
Oh yeah, because even if Declarer wins all of the things, it doesn't matter.
Right, like the only time when this is a problem is when he pitches a club and then partner plays a spade, and then he gets squeezed again.
Well, no, but if he pitches a club, Pratap is going to pitch a club, and then Dad doesn't. Oh,
right,
I see. Dad can still play a diamond.
Right. He just has to get out the 10 of diamonds, but I don't think he'll have too much trouble doing that because.
No, but what if he pitches a diamond now?
It's all sort of. It looks like it's all down one as long as he exits a diamond.
If he pitches a diamond, if he pitches a diamond, still Dad can exit the 10 of diamonds, and it's still okay.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like the only danger is if he pitches something here and then
he's always going to sort of get end played with the defense's setting trick no matter what. So it looks like no matter what happens, there's only one more trick for the defense, or
That's what they call the
Unless-
Miami end play, right? Where you you are end played to take the last the last setting trick.
Yes.
So I think this is actually sort of academic as to whether Larry pitches a club or a.
Right, well, the club will probably clarify things a little bit more for David. Because David knows that, hey, partner must have honor third in diamonds that they're guarding. And so I can play my 10, David had the jack of diamonds earlier, and so he knows that he can play the 10 of diamonds safely. And yeah, so
And there
here
is
we'll
that
see.
end play.
Yes, indeed.
This is the elegant way. Oh, that's necessary here to avoid a second under trick.
Yes,
Had Dad not pitched the jack of diamonds, though,
it's true. It's true.
might have been an extra one.
Yes. So that will be 6 imps for the Wolfson squad, since they were 2-0 just making in the other room.
6 very hard fought imps.
Yes.
That was a very exciting and hard fought hand.
Yeah, it's a quite interesting play problem and defensive problem. It looks like one of the tables played in 1-0 west, down 1, 2 hearts south, making 2 were the 4 results here. I'll go look around and see what else happened there. But
All right, new case. It doesn't look like an opening to me. East is going to open. Let's see. They're playing white for third seed. So this is a 14 to 16 no trump range. I think that seems.
Looks pretty good to me, huh?
Yeah.
yeah, I would open it if I think I would open this as 16 to 18, no Trump even. Since we're on the topic of 16 to 18 and South, knowing that partners a passed hand, kind of opting not to get in there with a sort of marginal overcall.
So a garbage statement choice by the West, figuring, hey, partner maybe has a major, we can play in a 4-4 or 4-3 fit, and if partner doesn't have a major, he's got at least 2 diamonds, so we have a diamond fit.
And as always,
Unfortunately,
partner is 3-3-2-5 because
as always, partner has clubs locked up here, and diamonds are foul. So
when I have the West hand, partner is always 3-3-2-5. Sometimes they're 3-2-2-6.
Yeah, I was gonna say sometimes I have
They're-
6. That was the real problem.
They always have 5 or 6 clubs, and it's
and sometimes a stiff
Yeah.
diamond, right? You wouldn't be as surprised if partner showed up with a stiff king of
Sometimes.
diamonds on his hand.
right. Sometimes they're 3-3-1-6 with the stiff king of diamonds, and you're just like, this is the worst.
And this has been discussed before, but when you're seeing with this type of garbage statement auction where they bid statement and pass 2 diamonds, dummies coming down short in clubs, and you're looking at king jack 10 4th of clubs. So we lead one of our diamonds.
Thank you. Yes, we lead trumps. Yes. because
Notice not
defense
the
are
ace
roughing
king of
things,
spades.
and honestly, this is another one of those auctions where maybe with a few exceptions here, but pretty much you lead a trump and then look at your hand, right? And we've had a lot of those where your opponents show multiple suits and either take a preference or where that one of your opponents is short somewhere, and you're defending a part score and likely to have maybe close to the balance of power. In all of those cases, you want to stop the opponents from roughing things, and especially when you don't have some other great plan here, that seems like a good starting point. And so here Declare has 3 spade losers and a diamond loser and probably 2 heart losers to handle. But the defense has to be a little careful because I take that back actually. So Declare can play ace and rough a club, let's say here, but then there's going to be some uppercuts happening.
Gonna run out of tricks pretty soon.
Tricks and trumps.
Maybe plays a spade because there's no positionality in the spade suit here. Let the opponents play something.
There's something to it.
Turns out the Jack of Spades is the sneakiest one.
Yeah, actually.
He's gonna.
But it's understandable. You kind of want to, yes, spades are not positional, but you kind of want to be driving some, like hoping that maybe hearts are 3-3 or something. So you're at least trying to establish another trick.
Yeah, and
Sure.
that's what he's doing.
Yeah. And so in the USA2 seniors, one table played 1 no making, 3 no down 1, and then 1 and 2 hearts. And
All of the results
on the 3 no double.
But yeah,
It's fun when every table has a different auction and a different contract on the same cards
Yes.
at this high level.
I'm a little surprised there weren't more people looking for blood in something or other, because it felt like one of those deals where anyone could wind up in something doubled.
Yeah, I am too, actually. I think with at least with the south hand, rather than bidding, just jamming 3 no, I certainly would have been trying to penalize. But in the women's fine USA1, both tables played 2 no. One table went down 1 and one table made 3. With a spade lead versus a heart lead there. And in the USA2, as you said, 2 clubs doubled for 1100, which was maybe not the best spot, and 1 no doubled, or sorry, 1 no making 1 by West. So a lot of variety of views there.
So this was not quite a free finesse. I mean, had hearts been 3-3, this potentially could have lost a trick. But now it'll work out okay.
Yeah, he kind of. Well, at that point, yes, had the hearts been 3-3 and they've been able to cash all of their spades and so on. This is true. But
right, there was a potential that they could have cashed spades, but it turns out.
It's going to be a sad trick moment.
Yeah.
Looks like
Yeah,
down 2.
Couldn't he at this point have afforded to play ace of hearts and a heart first?
Well, I think the idea is that they didn't want to. If diamond, like ace of hearts and a heart requires hearts to be 3-3 and diamonds to be 3-3. And if diamonds are 3-3, this works fine too, and preserves some communication so that they can't play a club tapping the dummy.
Good point.
Because that would establish his 5th club. But you know, after this trick, declare can't be feeling too great about taking more than 2 more tricks. So likely a push, since they were also 2 diamonds down 2.
So that brings the total for this set to 40-18 for the Goodman team. A very good set for them.
Yes.
A very tight match, regardless. So
Yes.
At what point do you feel comfortable with a lead, Ada or Dana?
Me, never. There's no margin that makes me happy.
You're a Yankees
know.
fan, aren't you? Like comfortable when you have a 1 run lead, a 1 inf lead.
Yeah, in my heart, I'm always fearful. There is a margin where I tell myself even more than I normally do. Don't do anything weird. Just, for the love of God, do what Michael would teach his students to do. Don't do anything outside the book.
You haven't been watching my lessons lately on psyching and first team.
Oh boy, I want to watch those. That sounds like fun. By the way, we have about 14 minutes left in this round, and this table still has 3 boards to play. So
Indeed.
somebody is getting a time penalty. But I'm not. I would guess that it's north south, but I'm not certain. Like just eyeballing it, I would guess that, but yeah. I have to run in about 5 minutes myself. So I may need to.
You're gonna leave us to our own devices, or just to make fun of you?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Do you have to go get-
honestly, that's fair. If I'm not here to defend myself, then I get to be a punching bag. So
You have to run. I assume you're going to get like an onion bagel with blueberry cream cheese. Is that what you're off to?
No, I have my usual appointment with my trainer, and so that is at least one decent thing I do, other than onion bagels with blueberry cream cheese. This is a reference to a very strange metaphor that I used in a previous that I am now going to have to, unfortunately, explore those flavors together. But 4 spades contract. And
Did you lose a bet or something that you have to try it, or
no, I made a very strange metaphor, and now I'm not going to be able to stop hearing about the metaphor until I try it, I think.
Yeah, that's probably true. So
Yeah.
can anything bad happen to this 4-spade contract?
It's let's see. They have a bunch of club losers, but are they gonna just try to win the ace and rough a few clubs and rough a diamond? I think
Interesting, because Declare might be thinking, well, maybe we could establish the heart suit, but
Mhm.
rather than playing ace in a club and trying to rough clubs in the dummy. But with such good trump spots, it feels like you just kind of
Right.
you start roughing losers, and at some point, the opponents, maybe they'll over rough, or maybe something bad happens. But by that time, you'll already have taken so many tricks that who cares?
right.
You
And if
come
they
off the
do,
board
then you
with
can you can later on set up the ace of hearts too. Or
do
the
you
king
come
of-
off the board with a diamond or a heart? Because the diamond, that lead is a little bit suspicious. Well, not suspicious. West did preempt or overcall in diamonds, but West might have 7 diamonds for that.
They
Sure, you might just play a heart.
I think he's going to come off with a heart. He's not going to risk a diamond.
Right. Well, I mean, if you come off with a heart, right, when they return a trump, you're planning probably to win the ace of trump, and then rough a club, rough a diamond back, and go from there.
Right, rough a diamond with a 10 or whatever. And
I mean, you can do that now. You can rough with the 7 or the 10. They're all the same.
right.
Okay.
But I think he's going to play.
I have to run, so I will see you all later. Enjoy the last 2 boards. I think there's something exciting on the last board, at least. So
Spoilers.
yes. As I am leaving, I will blow up the entire place and give all kinds of spoilers. But I will not say more than that. So thank you for having me on. I will see you all later.
See you
Thanks,
later,
Adam.
Adam.
Yeah.
Dana.
Yes.
Dana, I think
Yes.
we have to do the bridge analysis.
That's not a good idea.
Uh-oh, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Maybe there's something else that our viewers would be interested in.
So Larry Cohen is famous for being a great bridge teacher and player and writer, and obviously we do lots of cruises that you should check out. There, now do I get to say that I had like a full work day?
Please do Michael a solid and tell Larry that you saw a little infomercial for his cruise and seminar.
Bridge camp in Austin, Texas is going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah. Regionals at sea. We do all the regionals at sea. We do a lot of work for them.
So Larry has to decide. I think he's deciding between a diamond and a trump.
Mm-hmm.
When Declare might have had a double tint and I'll come off the board with a diamond. Although Declare did think about it for a little while, so it's very tough.
Yeah. I'm not sure functionally whether it mattered all that much. Particularly with the Jack of Hearts singleton. It turns out nothing was going to or the Jack of Hearts singleton at the moment. Turns out that nothing was gonna do much.
through that.
Interesting. I don't know why he's doing cash the Queen of Hearts. Oh, maybe he didn't want East to be able to pitch on a diamond.
Mm. Well, the second
At some
diamond
point he
already
can
came
talk.
through. He knows.
Yeah. At some point, you can sort of draw Trump, but. Well, he's gonna make some number of over tricks. He has to still lose a spade.
He has to lose a spade, and he still has. He has no way to get back to his hand now without
Right,
Dad being able to rough.
No, but then he wins. Oh no, it doesn't
But
matter.
then he wins.
in dummy. He wins in dummy and he gets roughed again, so it doesn't matter.
Michael, we're in luck. No bridge analysis is required.
Thank goodness.
Everybody, please say hello to USA2 representative in the mixed, Chris Langen, also known as husband and honorary Berkowitz.
You can hear the thunderous applause from Twitch. Is it okay if I just refer to you as Adam Kaplan? Just, we've been on a roll. It just feels easier.
We're often mistaken for one another.
Did you hear all of the mean things Dana said about you when we were watching you in the finals? Have you rewatched that VUGRAPH?
What's new? What's new?
She had been into her cups a little. And
Hey.
All right. They're still taking their 10 tricks as sort of predicted, that they had lots of ways to get to 10 tricks.
Okay, so now we have 2 boards to be played in under 7 minutes. They're not going to make it.
Oh no.
It's physically impossible
No, they don't
for there
like,
not to be time penalties assessed.
there's no like
Two
physical
boards in 7
punishments though,
minutes,
right?
That's no problem.
They're not gonna like take off Dad's arm or something for doing this, right?
So trust me, Chris, that 2 boards in 7 minutes in this seniors event is impossible being played on tablets. They're not, I don't think that they're yet sufficiently, it's still pretty early in the tournament. I don't think that they're sufficiently adept with the tablets to physically get through all of the cards in that time allowance.
Yeah, as someone who has tried to teach our dad how to use his computer at various times in my life, I second that opinion that perhaps seniors and tablets was a tough mix.
So the interface is quite intuitive. It's the default is kind of a drag and drop system. So unlike with other online platforms, you are actually playing the cards. You sort of click on it and kind of drag it to the center of the table to play. So hopefully it should be a relatively steep learning curve.
So
This was not the
Adam
deal
was-
that they thought was interesting.
I don't know. He was saying second to last board, we should expect fireworks. I don't think on
The last board.
This-
Yeah, this hand could be a quick claim. Let's see. Declare's got it's easy to think about the north hand as kind of the master hand here, because that's going to be the easiest hand to set up. So it's got a club loser and a potential diamond loser and 2 potential heart losers if the hearts are breaking poorly. So I think at this point the only thing Declare is thinking about are 4-1 hearts, trying to figure out if he can not go down if there's adverse distribution.
So from Larry's perspective, he has to decide whether he wants to continue clubs or not. I think he probably will, just in case he could tap the dummy, right?
It's an interesting spot. Yeah, he has successfully kind of continued clubs, which will prolong the play, I think. Of course, some folks might take that Queen of Clubs as a high suit preference signal. So oftentimes when there's a singleton and dummy and we lead, ace from ace king, we have the agreement with partner that we give suit preference. The theory being it won't usually right to be continuing dummies singleton. Here, of course, Larry started with 11 high card points. Declare had a 15 to 17 no trump, so we'll give him kind of 16 for his bid. Dummy has 9, there's 25. So
Especially once Dad plays the queen of
yeah,
clubs.
so Larry can tell that once East has queen jack of clubs, there's no room for any spade honors. So it's fairly easy just to continue a club as sort of a default because the spade cannot be necessary. So that play is going to be unfortunate because it's going to slow down the hand. On a spade exit, Declare would have taken a quick sort of safety play in hearts. He would have cashed the ace of hearts, and when everyone followed low, he would have let a low heart out of his hand towards the jack. And that play would actually allow Declare to pick up hearts for only one loser if either opponent held the queen 10 fourth in hearts. But now that with the dummy being shortened in a play like that, the jack of hearts, Declare can be getting a little bit blocked up and jammed up, and so he's going to have something to think about here.
Unfortunate, because we can again see that almost all lines, whatever he tries, is going to work.
Yeah, I sort of suspect what we're going to see next is the ace of diamonds from dummy, because I think Declare may be reasoning that
See, I was going to call you Adam Kaplan, and I should call you David Berkowitz for being wrong all the time about your prediction.
Yeah, so this is
Ooh.
a very
He's going to try to rough out the
strange line, I would say. This is not an accurate line. So Declare is he's basically playing to make his own hand the master hand, just to trump the clubs in dummy. The problem with that is if the trumps break badly, he's really kind of without recourse. And this is actually a play, kind of mistake you don't see too often at this level, but we're kind of people get obsessed with the losers in their own hand when it might be just easier to kind of set up the dummy, right? So basically, if you look at the way this hand is playing out, dummy's diamond length and strength is just kind of irrelevant. Like Declare now has the same amount of winners and losers he would have had if dummy had started with ace jack third and diamonds. He just never played to use the long diamond suit, which is why he should have probably been trying to set up the dummy.
How do you play diamonds? Why do you think the ace first? Because I would have thought that if anyone was likely to have length, it would have been West, since they didn't lead a
That's
single.
exactly why you start with the ace, because you're not going to finesse either player for queen third. Your fundamental chance is to play for 2-2 diamonds. But if you do play ace of diamonds and a diamond, and East is out,
right?
They won't be able to profitably rough because you'll just follow with your little one, right? They're basically roughing their partner's third round winner in that case. And the reason that we're sort of, just to catch everyone up, the reason we're saying that West is unlikely to be short in diamonds is because if West had a singleton diamond, they probably would have led it on the opening lead, or at least a good chance. So I probably would have been starting diamonds first, giving myself the most flexibility. But here, as discussed, all roads lead to row, with diamonds and hearts both breaking.
So there's 36 seconds on the clock. Are they going to be allowed to start the last board?
Yes, they're definitely going to be allowed to start. I think it's pretty rare for boards to be curtailed this format. Generally, they just let everybody play. And
Ooh, we finally get to see a precision 2-diamond opening here by the West hand.
Just so folks have an understanding of how the clocks work here. If a pair runs over time, there is not necessarily a penalty. So the first, I believe, 7 minutes of extra time taken by not the partnership, but the entire 6-person team are without penalty. And after that time, there are penalties that are they get more severe as more time is taken. So the idea is if you do happen to run a couple of minutes over in, a segment or two, that's not the end of the world. There's no penalty. The system's really designed to punish those who are habitually late.
The 7 minutes, though, is for the whole team for the whole 2-day match, right?
That's right.
So if you run through if you start seeing time penalties being assessed in relatively early stages of the match, you know that they're in serious danger because they've already run through their 7 minutes. And so every lateness that happens after that is additive.
Yes,
So-
players who have kind of been taking a majority of the table's time in the past era of the game are going to have to adjust to this new, much fairer reality where everyone has the same amount of time.
Query whether audience members, you believe that Chris is a thoughtful player or a speedy player on the faster side.
Well, I would say that I just got done playing the mixed trials with a partner who's definitely on the slower end.
Oh, we have another cameo. This is
We have
awesome.
another cameo.
Welcome, Robert Todd, to our merry band here, discussing time penalties and the new developments with regard there too.
So I'm not talking my book. I did have a slow partner in the mix, a very deliberate thinker as a partner in the mixed trials. But you know what? We managed to get through without being penalized. So it definitely can be done as long as everyone is paying attention to the clock. But it's a far superior solution to the old days when you had certain highly inconsiderate players who would take half the table's time just by themselves and kind of force everybody else to play really quickly or be late.
So Chris, is Dad's auction here a slam try in clubs?
That's what it feels like. So let's just go through it for everyone since we've been talking about other stuff. 2 diamonds is artificial. It shows a hand with a shortness in diamonds. The shape could be a few different shapes, including 4-4. So the usual way to describe it is it's 4-4-1-5, give or take a card somewhere.
Yeah, so the best way to think about this, if you're not familiar with precision,
Take a card. Yes.
is that when you play a 1 club opening is strong, you need something to do when you have a standard American 1 club opening. And so those 1 club openings get tossed into a bunch of different bids. But this particular type, where you're unbalanced with clubs, but also have support for both majors, gets open 2 diamonds and just kind of says short diamonds, 4-3 or 4-4 in the majors, minimum opening bid. And that gives partner kind of a good sense of the hand right away. So of course, Pratap had an easy 3 diamond overcall. And yes, then here, East was able to Q bid and then bid 5 clubs. It's sort of a slam try. He's not worried about the diamond control because the 2 diamond opening bid guaranteed a singleton or void in diamonds. And personally, I think here that East might have been a little bit of a wimp on this hand.
Well, I think it's interesting because is it 100% clear that this is a slam try in clubs? Could he not have had like 4 spades and 5 clubs and been trying to find the right strain?
So it's a good question. You have to know their methods. I would have thought that if he had 4 spades and 5 clubs over 4 hearts, he would now bid 4 spades, right? Because his partner could still be 4-4 in the majors, and in fact was. So for me, when we Q bid and then bid at the 5 level, that's a slam try. But I think both hands were quite conservative here, because from East's perspective, knowing partner has a singleton diamond, he needs only the right 11 points for slam, right? Ace of spades, ace of hearts, king of clubs. And by the way,
exactly those points.
And by the way, if he's missing the king of clubs, you know, that's a finesse through the vulnerable 3-level overcall. So that's a finesse that's quite likely to win. So I think I would have bid 6 clubs with his hand. And then jumping over to the West hand, your partner has made a slam try and you have 3 key cards for your minimum opening bid. So I think I would bid slam with the West hand. And so, and by the way, you know, that is not inaccurate because the opponents, you know, sort of have a little bit, almost a little bit extra for slam. Like they have a 4th spade if they needed it to discard something. There's no loser to discard here, but you know, they've kind of got slam, you know, well in hand. And I feel like you know, Berkowitz and Cohen were a very regular partnership for quite a long time, but that was 15 years ago. And I feel like probably just a little bit of uncertainty and unfamiliarity from all that time off kind of seeped in here. I feel like 15 years ago, they would have been confident enough for one or both of them to kind of bid slam at the end.
All right, well, thank you all for watching. We're gonna stop the shares shortly and then we're gonna resume in a little bit, but it's been great to have you all watching. There's gonna be a lot more bridge. There might be some more Berkowitzes around. Hopefully there's more Berkowitzes playing after today still for a few more days. And Robert is doing one with Vronia, our new ACBL executive director.
It's Tuesday
Tuesday night. So set your calendar, but there's always good bridge to be had and a lot of fun in the Twitch chat. There was a
Thanks,
5
Mike.
and Michael
And
Capera mentioned
thank
that
you, our
there's a-
special guests. And we'll see everybody. Everybody should come back in about 10 minutes. I think they will be resuming play.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you all.
everybody.